D'Lo Full for boxing. All right, y'all. I want to talk about this new mantra, this chant, this taunt that some of you boxing fans have started putting out. And it isn't brand new. I've been hearing it for a while with this top ranked Toby and Bud's a slave and all that silly stuff. And I think some people have started echoing it more since Errol Spence Jr.'s interview on Barbershop Conversation. Shout out to Barbershop Conversations over there at DB. And shout out to Errol Spence Jr. Where Errol Spence Jr. made the statement that, he felt like Bob Arum treats Bud like a lot of owners treat athletes. And you know what I'm saying? And I think, from my perspective, the way I interpret that was kind of like how these basketball players and football players get treated by ownership of these teams. And you know what I'm saying, when their resourcefulness or whatever isn't what they think it is, they get treated like property. And in boxing, we've seen the same thing over the years. Do I interpret that as Errol Spence Jr. taking a shot at Bud Crawford and saying that he thinks that Bud is treated like a slave, or that he's, that he's somehow slave-minded or has a slave mentality? Absolutely not. But I do think that there are some people who, choose to make those type of statements about Terence Crawford for whatever reason. And actually, to me, they sound crazy. You know what I'm saying? And I hate to say anything to just, insult anyone. But I mean, I have to look at some of you guys like clowns when y'all make these kind of statements. Terence Crawford is a guy who, who's in a situation with a promotional company where he was not getting ready to be out of his contract at the time that he read up. And when he read up, the ESPN deal was going into place, and it, and it actually looked promising. As a fan, I was excited for ESPN. I was excited for, Top Rank and those fighters over there. I was like, and I was excited for us as fans. But to me, I'll be honest, it never shaped out of what I wanted it to be. And at parts, it's kind of looked like HBO 2.0 somewhat, but the worst parts of HBO boxing, you know what I mean? So, but quite honestly, when you're talking about a guy getting guaranteed money, I'm not going to say what the amount is, because I've heard mixed mention of what the actual guaranteed amount is, and I don't really care to look it up or all that. I don't really care that much about it, to be honest. But whatever the amount is an amount that he's happy with and he's satisfied with, and it helps him to take care of his family. I think Crawford has like 6 kids now, wife, a large extended family, whatever, and whatever, you know what I'm saying, and he has obligations. So, and I feel like whatever he makes at Top Rank or with ESPN is what he's happy with in the moment. Does he want greater things in the sport of boxing? Apparently he does, if he's always talking about pursuing fights instead of just sitting over there being content with what Top Rank's feeding him. But the fact that people choose to use the word slave and Top Rank Toby, it blows me away, because a lot of these people making these statements probably work jobs that, they probably feel underappreciated at their jobs. They probably don't want to go to work and have to go because they have to make ends meet. And they're probably nowhere near getting the kind of paper that Bud Crawford is getting through Top Rank or through ESPN or whatever. I'm one of those people who don't really care a whole lot about how much money these guys make. I mean, yes, I do want the fighters to make the lion's share of the money. They're the ones in the ring taking the shots. They're the ones in there putting their life on the line. But I can't agree, or, I can't just, go along with statements and, things of that nature that just are totally dismissive of, devoid of facts. You know what I'm saying? It's just, and a lot of this stuff is things that are being said that, in my opinion, had Terence Crawford never mentioned wanting to fight Errol Spence Jr., we wouldn't hear any of this stuff. And it's like, because these two fighters, two prime top level athletes, both great fighters, both seem to be really genuinely good people outside of the ring, you know what I'm saying, on top of being good athletes, seem to be genuinely good men. You know what I'm saying? Just from my perspective. Of course, everybody has something about them you don't know. But just from my perspective, they seem to be generally good dudes. And it's like, because of this rivalry that really isn't a rivalry because they haven't made it to the ring yet, but there's been this dividing line drawn, and people feel compelled to always take a shot at one guy or the other. I can talk to guys, you know what I'm saying, I can get on live streams or go to chats and listen, and guys who can be talking about anything in the world, somehow the conversation shifts to Terence Crawford, and then there's a whole bunch of, you know, things about everything that's wrong with Terence Crawford and what he's doing or should be doing and this, that, and the other. Same thing. It can go with Errol Spence Jr. Whole bunch of negativity about what Errol Spence Jr. should be doing, shouldn't be doing, what he is, what he isn't, and all that. And in reality, you know what I'm saying, if it wasn't for the pending possibility of a fight between the two, a lot of these conversations would never even be brought to light. I mean, and the reality is that none of these fighters are perfect. There's always more that these fighters could have done, could be doing. You know, and this is what it is. Nobody can fight everybody, you know, but we really, as fans, need to be getting the fights that we want to see. Because, you know, for you know what I'm saying, for so long, you know, we've held out hope for certain fights and never got them. And then here's this fight that seemed like it was going to be something that was going to happen, you know, within maybe a year of being mentioned, that they may have already fought once, maybe on the cusp of a rematch. And then here it is, 2-3 years, you know, going on 4 years later, and these guys are no closer to getting in the ring than they were, you know, when their names were first mentioned, you know, in the sentence as potential opponents. So, you know, I definitely, you know, I definitely understand that people are gonna, you know, by nature, sometimes people feel compelled to pick sides, and people feel compelled to want to big up their position and sometimes talk down on the other position. But I'll say, you know what I'm saying, me personally, big fan of Terence Crawford, big fan of Errol Spence Jr. I've always stated who I felt would win the fight, but that has no bearing on how I feel about the other guy. There's no bearing on, you know, me coming on here overly criticizing the other guy just to be doing it. I can't do it. I don't have it in me. You know what I'm saying? But the reality is that I could take any fighter in the sport of boxing right now, and if I wanted to just break apart his resume and just find fault in a lot of things that he's done or didn't do, or certain things that he you know, did a certain way when there was a better way to do it, or a way that I felt like made more sense, I could do that. But that's not really what I come on here for, and that's not what I'm going to get into doing, is just coming on here trying to tear these fighters down. I have a lot of respect for these guys, all of these fighters, you know what I'm saying, because the reality is that, you know what I'm saying, all I can do right now is what I'm doing as it pertains to boxing. I can get in the ring and fight none of these guys. I can get through a training camp, you know what I'm saying, and get down to a weight that makes sense for me to get in the ring. And at my age, I would have no business even doing it in the first place. But, you know what I'm saying, I just wanted to say that a little bit. But, you know what I'm saying, for me, like I said, there's no point in overly criticizing, you know, either of these guys just for the sake of propping up the other one. You know what I'm saying? I feel like these fighters respect each other a hell of a lot more than their fan bases respect the other guy. And, yeah, it's a damn shame. But that's all I got to say on it. D-Lo404 Boxing. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Pretty sure going to be some thumb downs just for the hell of it. Lately, y'all been doing that a lot. But whatever, you know what I'm saying? Whatever floats your boat, you know what I'm saying? Do what you got to do. D-Lo404 Boxing, I'm out.